Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Gunpla News episode 38 for April 2018. Just want to start off the episode by saying thanks to New Type Official for sending me some new clothes, some cool new clothes. There's a big logo here on the back of the shirt as well. Check out the link to their shop down below. Some cool Gundam-related clothing there if you're in the market for such things. And let's get right into it. As always, we've got 5 parts. We've got some news. We got some new announcements, we got some updates, we got some third-party resin, bootleg kind of stuff, and then some features at the end. So as always, there's going to be a time codes, that's what I want to say, down below in the description. If you want to skip to any particular section, you can do that there. Let's just start off. First of all, speaking of t-shirts, the t-shirt contest that I have now going on along with USA Gundam Store is ongoing. You have until the end of April 30th, to submit your designs for that. Again, if you want, you can go back and check out the video if you missed that, the announcement video. I then did also do a live stream as well, where I answered some questions after the initial announcement video. Some people did still have some questions about entering the contest, so I did a live stream answering as many of those as I could, and it should be pretty well explained now. Of course, if you do still have any other further questions, you can ask that via email or whatever, but enter in that contest. There's you're going to win a free shirt, obviously, out of it, and then also $75 to USA Gundam Store, which is pretty cool, so check that out. Next thing is that Gundam Build Divers has premiered with the first episode just a couple days ago. I've not watched it yet, but I'll get around to watching it anyway. Seems like pretty much, for the most part, people are pretty pleased with it, so that's pretty cool. Next point of news here is that the Gundam X Blu-ray Memorial Box revealed some new stuff here. It revealed a new Gundam Novelle, which kind of looks like a little bit sort of similar to the Gundam Vertigo from that series, but like a more Gundam version of that, so it's quite cool, quite interesting. And then we also saw the Gundam X Unit 3, which is pretty much exactly the same as the Gundam X, but it's a little bit different colorway. And we're also going to be getting a premium Bandai Master Grade version of that, which I'll talk about here in a bit. But anyway, the Blu-ray set, if you're into buying Japanese Blu-rays and like spending a whole lot of money, that is going to be, that just recently came out about a week ago, and it's costing 52,000 yen, so around $500 for that. So yeah, those new designs were featured in a prologue manga that was included in that box set. So that's pretty cool to see anyway. It would be nice to get like an actual model kit of that. That new design is pretty interesting. The last couple points of news are just related to some other shows that I do here. This month's episode of Gunpla Talk is not scheduled yet, but just make sure you follow our Facebook page to stay up to date with that. But Roast My Gunpla, Roast My Kit, the series that I talked about doing a couple months ago, I'm finally getting around to doing that. I'm not actually going to be doing that show live, but we're going to be recording that tomorrow night. We're going to record it, and then I'll edit that and then upload it for you guys. I can tell you guys who I'm going to be doing that show with. It's going to be with none other than Gundam Nerd. Some of you guys may know him from the Gundam Kitchen videos, also on Instagram. He does a lot of posting on there. Very funny guy, and that should be really cool to do the Roast My Kit show kind of series. Well, we'll see how that goes with him, though. He's hilarious, so that should be good. So look out for that video shortly. And then also I'm going to be doing my live interview, the return of the Builder interview series. The first episode of this new season of that, I guess we could say, is with Mike Rinaldi. Mike Rinaldi is an amazing builder. Doesn't really do a whole lot of Gundam, but he did make a book, which is really cool. I reviewed not too long ago, a few months ago back anyway. He mostly works in scale modeling, but he is just amazing at what he does. Very, very good modeler, so definitely make sure you check out that interview. And also this month's episode of G-Check is not scheduled yet, but just, again, make sure you follow my Facebook page to be updated on that. Another thing just concerning live streaming, as you guys may have seen recently, I live streamed the building of the Deep Striker, as well as been streaming this guy over there on Twitch, so just make sure you follow me on Twitch. I just recently became an affiliate. If that means something, I'm not really even too sure. I'm not really all that accustomed to Twitch yet, but I'm now a Twitch affiliate, so that means you can do kind of more stuff, I guess. So anyway, I'll be finishing up the building of this guy on Twitch and then working on some more stuff, just kind of live streaming some building and hanging out there on Twitch more in the future. So just make sure you follow me there. And let's get into the announcements for this month. Let's see. We'll start off with just something simple. The Gundam Decal DX series number 1 through 6 is going to be coming out in May for 1,500 yen each. Now, I think usually in the past these DX series have been premium Bandai, although from what I've seen so far, I don't think these are going to be, which is cool. There's going to be 6 sets. One is the 1 Year War set, which comes with decals for both the EF side and the Xeon side. The next one is the Unicorn Series Volume 1. There's the Seed series, which comes with a bunch of different things from the Seed series. These are all 1/100 scale too, again, as far as I know. And then there's the 1 Year War EF series one, which is just EF series mobile suits from 1 Year War. And then there's the 1 Year War Xeon series, again, same thing, but with Xeon. And then Unicorn Series Volume 2. So there's going to be, it's pretty much all UC except for one Seed series. So hopefully they'll do some more stuff in the future. It'd be cool to see like some more, like maybe an age set. I know that may not be like the most popular thing. I guess there's just not really a lot of age master grade suits. I guess that would be the problem. But there's a lot of really great HGs in that line, and it'd be cool to have some nice, like, interesting logos or something for them. I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff, I guess, that we could use some nice waterside decals for, so hopefully Bandai keeps that up. Next, a few Gundam-based Tokyo Limited things that are going to be coming out here in July. There is the Gundam Base Tokyo Limited Action Base number 5. This is a unicorn version, so this is just the smaller of the new action bases. And the unicorn version just means that it has like white part there at the base. With I'm guessing this is come with like just sticker decals, and then the clear red part for the arm, obviously sort of simulating the Psycho frame. So that's pretty interesting. That's 600 yen. And there's also a Action Base 4 tricolor version, so obviously tricolors there. You can figure that out. And yeah, this one also does look pretty cool. It's quite interesting to see the base in that color. It's obviously something you could very easily do with just some paint. But this one as well looks like it's coming with some marking stickers also, which are kind of cool. This one is 700 yen, and then there is also a new kit coming out, the Master Grade Crossbone Gundam X1 Full Cloth Extra Finish version. So this one is 7,500 yen, so definitely more expensive. But if you like those kind of extra finish kits, they're usually quite expensive like that, so that's not too out of the ordinary. But yeah, that's going to be a Gundam Base Tokyo Limited model there. Okay, and then there's a couple of Strict G limited model kits as well. Strict G is that kind of like posh little mini shop there inside Gundam Base Tokyo, which sells like more high-end stuff. If you guys haven't seen my videos from Gundam Base Tokyo, you can check that out. We looked around in the store there. But anyway, so keeping in line with their high-end stuff, they've got some collaboration kits here with Mastermind Japan. I don't really know what that is. I want to guess it's like a clothing company or something, but I actually don't know. I was going to check, but I just can't really be bothered. Anyway, these are just ridiculously expensive. But there is a 1/12 scale Zaku 2 for 756,000 yen. So yeah, around $7,000. If you want a, to be honest, pretty ugly looking design, Zaku 2 in 1/12 scale. I guess how big that would be is something like that or something, I guess. Ridiculous. But there is also a, if you want something a little bit smaller, a little bit cheaper slightly, there's a PG Zaku 2, PG Char's Zaku 2. It does have the antenna and a little bit different styling on that. So that one is 22,000 yen, around $200. So a little bit better, I suppose. And then finally, there is the PG Unicorn Gundam 03 Phoenix Mastermind Japan version. So this one is 110,000 yen, so around $1,000 for this kit. But the LED set is included, so that's something, right? Basically just looks like kind of like plated, like the Phoenix is. It's a plated kit, electroplated. In this case, it's kind of plated like glossy black, which it looks cool. And the Psycho frame is just blue, the same with that. So yeah, for these kits, I mean, they're just black with a skull logo on them. I mean, not the hardest thing to make yourself, but hey, if you're into collecting that really super limited stuff, that's something for you. All right, so now let's get into some of the more interesting things coming out. So next we had a Robot Damashi Ka Signature S Gundam announced. We don't have any information on the release date or price for that yet, but they've been doing other things. We had the Ka Signature XS Gundam, and then there is the Zeta Plus C1 that's coming out. So there's going to be they're going through kind of the list of all of the Sentinel stuff. coming out in the Robot Damashi Ka signature line. So the S Gundam is up next, and as usual with the other ones, it does look very, very nice. I imagine that's going to be probably around 7,000, 8,000 yen, if not maybe a little bit more, but pretty pricey. Next is the Robot Damashi Gyan version anime. Now in August for 6,400 yen. The version anime line has been going for quite a while as well. Usually when they kind of have these like kind of branch ideas that they go with, they'll go for like 3, 4, 5 releases maybe. But the version anime line must be selling pretty well because they've gone through quite a lot of mobile suits in the line so far. So the Gyan is another cool addition to that. It comes with some cool effect parts for that, like little exploding mines that you can like attach onto the Gundam. And of course, some missile effects out of the shield and everything. So it looks really cool. Okay, then getting down into the kind of smaller candy toys size figures, we have the Premium Bandai Mobile Suit Ensemble EX06A and 06B. These are both P-Bandai exclusive items here. 06A is the 00 Quanta Full Saber, and 06B is the XN Riser. So some pretty cool mobile suits there in the Mobile Suit Ensemble line. I haven't gotten in any figures from the Ensemble line, and I probably won't. But those are both coming out in July. The 00 Quanta Full Saber is 2,700 yen. The XN Riser is 3,000 yen. But again, you will have to order those through a Premium Bandai seller. Next thing, we have a Mini-Pla Gundam Build Divers Super Shock Gundam coming out in July for 4,800 yen. This is a very interesting thing. This is also a Gashapon where you'll have to buy like a box of this, like 10 in a box. So I guess that makes them about 480 yen each, about 450 each for these. The included mobile suits are the Shock Gundam, which is new, I guess, and then there's the RX-782 Gundam, Zaku, New Gundam, and Sazabi, so kind of like Bandai's 4 big ones there, along with the New Gundam, and the new NEW Gundam, the Shock Gundam, I mean. And yeah, these are very interesting little, like, kind of SD-style Gashapon figures that include a bunch of weapons and things like that, and you can also, like, combine them into this big Super Gundam, and you can also combine them onto other HG kits and kind of make them look kind of really weird. It's not really anything that I'm into at all personally. It's interesting, it's something, but this is one of those things that I hope is relatively short-lived, because I'd like to see Bandai focus on other things than this. But hey, maybe that's something you guys are into. If so, that's fine. All right, let's get into all of the P-Bandai announcements for this month, and there was a fair amount of them. The P-Bandai Master Grade Gundam X Unit 3, as I mentioned just not too long ago, this one's coming out in July for 4,000 yen. Looking at the kit, I can't really see too much different about in terms of what's actually there molded in plastic. So as far as I can tell, it's just a color swap. I may be wrong about that, but it's just, yeah, all the blue on the kit is now in like this light purple, and the shoulders, which are typically white, are also in that light purple color. I think it's a big improvement. I really like these new colors on it. Of course, I'm a fan of that light lavender color on mobile suits, so a little bit of bias there, but I think it's definitely an improvement. You do also get a set of water slides included with the kit, though, so that's good. That's definitely an improvement. The regular kit, of course, doesn't include any water slides, so yeah, it's not a bad kit if you were wanting to get a Master Grade X Gundam, which I actually don't have. I have the double X, but no X. I've heard it's a really nice kit, though. The double X is good, and I've heard the X is another nice Master Grade as well, so if you can get that, it's P-Bandai. If you can get it at a good price, I would say it's probably worth it. The next one is the P-Bandai Master Grade GM Dominance. So this is another variant of the GM Sniper that we've got out in a few different. We have the GM Sniper 2, the GM Sniper Custom, the GM Command, and this is just another variant of that in this case. The GM Dominance, though, very, very cool. I like the double beam rifle on the arm. It's sort of looks like kind of related to the Pale Rider. And I believe it might be, but I'm not actually familiar with this Gundam like in canon or what it's actually from or anything, but it looks very, very cool. I've pre-ordered this and will be reviewing that for you guys with the help of USA Gundam Store. So thank you to those guys as always. Thank you USA Gundam Store for sponsoring that. But again, that one is out in June for 4,500 yen. So 500 yen more than the GM Sniper Custom, but it does have a fair amount of new parts in there, it looks like, so that one should be pretty nice. Next thing, the P-Bandai RD100 Gundam Mark III Unit 8. In this case, very few to zero new parts in this one. This is another one that I looked at it for a long time, and I can't find anything different about it in terms of the design. As far as I can tell, this one as well is just a color swap, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just bright red version of the Gundam Mark III. Again, I think this is an improvement. I really like the color of this much more than just the standard version of the Gundam Mark III. It looks really good in all red, I will admit. But really, again, this is nothing really you couldn't do with just some paint, assuming you have the means to paint. This one is out in June as well for 3,500 yen, so a little bit cheaper, as the RE line tends to be. Then we have a P-Bandai Real Grade Zaku Mine Layer. Really cool design. I love the design of the Zaku Mine Layer. I still think, for me, between this or the Master Grade, I would probably just go for the Master Grade, but the RG does look quite nice. The color separation and the colors for the color separation in the RG that they've gone with for this kit does look quite nice. It should be a nice Real Grade. That one is out in May for 3,000 yen. Again, a little bit more expensive. I think the standard kit is 2,500 yen, so 500 yen more for a new backpack, basically. And that one, I believe, is also just coming with stickers, not actually water slides, unfortunately. So if that came with water slides, it'd be a little bit more tempting, but for stickers, pass. This next one, though, is by no means a pass. This is the P-Bandai HGUC Woundwort. So this one is controversial. We saw that this was coming out. We had a prototype, and everyone lost their mind because it's a Woundwort. Who would ever thought we'd ever got a kit of a Woundwort? I mean, we had our fingers crossed, but it wasn't really likely. And then we saw the prototype, and it was going to be coming out as an HG kit. That's awesome. And then with the shiv in the side, Bandai gives it to us as a P-Bandai kit. It's unfortunate because it's going to be more expensive, of course, for people living outside of the close proximity to Japan. But again, it's just another case of I'd rather have the kit made than not have it made at all. So yeah, this one I'm really looking forward to either way. It looks amazing from the images that we've seen of it, the different gimmicks and everything that are included with this. It looks like they really nailed it, so I really can't wait for this kit. This is out in June as well for 1,800 yen, too. 1,800 yen is, it's a little bit higher for an HG, but considering what this HG is, it's completely new design, completely new kit. It transforms, it has some pretty cool features and gimmicks. There you go. And man, does it look really cool. So I really can't wait for this kit. It's going to be awesome. And moving on. Okay, the next thing here is the P-Bandai HGC Pixie Gundam. This is another one. Same story. We saw it as a prototype. We didn't know whether it was going to be a full release or a P-Bandai. Unfortunately, it's going to be coming out as a P-Bandai kit for some people. Personally, I'm not really that big fan of the design of the Pixie. It's quite interesting, though, that it with like the Uzis and the daggers, and it has the beam effect for the beam saber is quite cool. How it has a kind of like trailing effect on the beam. So it definitely is going to be a cool kit. Just the overall design, though, is just not quite for me. This one also coming out in June for actually more than the Woundwort for some strange reason, for 2,000 yen for this Gundam. I guess maybe just because it has more clear parts? I don't know. I believe this is also a completely new mold for this kit, unless this is using some of the joint parts or something from a different kit, but I'm not sure. One interesting thing that we can see in the promo images, you can see in the foreground of one of the promo images, it shows what looks to be an HG Ifrit. Not the Ifrit Custom or the Ifrit Schneid or Noct, the other Ifrits that we've already had come out. The just standard Ifrit hasn't actually come out yet, so I'm wondering if that means that possibly in the future we'll maybe see another P-Bandai version of the Ifrit as just the standard original Ifrit. I think that's probably very likely, and this image definitely makes me think that that is probably going to happen sooner than later. Okay, and then one more in the cursed line here, the P-Bandai HGC Goof Flight Type. This one also coming out a little bit earlier in May for 2,000 yen again for this one. So again, this is another one we saw the prototype. Fingers were crossed for a standard release, but unfortunately this one is coming out as a P-Bandai kit as well. But this is another one that I'm super excited for. I love the design of the Goof Flight Type ever since I saw it in 8th MS Team at first. And I had the original HG kit, which came out ages ago. It's okay, but it could definitely use an improvement. So this looks like it's going to be using probably some parts, probably mostly from the HGC Goof Custom, and then some new parts in there. I'm not sure if it's going to be using any parts from the Revive Goof. It might be, but I'm gonna say probably not. Whatever the case, it looks fantastic. I love that. I love the Goof Flight Type, so I can't wait for that kit. It looks so cool. Alright, so that's it for P-Bandai, and now we can move into the standard release stuff, of which there's some pretty interesting developments. So the first thing here is the Figure-Eyes Labo is a new line, like kind of among the Figure-Eyes line, which has a lot of different things going on. The first one here is the Fumina Hoshino, of course. It's got to be Fumina, right? Bandai's pride and joy. This is coming out in June for 5,500 yen. 5,500 yen is pretty expensive, right? But this is like a figure that you build yourself. So Bandai is getting a little bit experimental here, where it's like, so I guess it'd be like comparable to like a resin figure, but it's not resin, like a resin like character figure. But instead of just being resin, it's just a plastic one. And there's some, aside from that, which is already kind of interesting, the other interesting point is that they're using a new molding technology where they're doing multiple injection into the same part, but how they're doing it is actually not so like you have two different colors like right next to each other on the same part, but actually on top of each other. And what they're doing is messing with like the thickness of the color. So like they have just the skin tone, and they're putting in red plastic underneath that. And then depending on the thickness is like how much that red is going to show through. So it's kind of a way for them to make the plastic kind of have like different shades of skin tone based on how thin or thick that top like skin color layer is. So it's actually quite interesting, and I think that is definitely impressive. I'm not sure, how popular this line is going to be. I can imagine it's probably going to be similar to the figurized bust line, where we'll probably get a small handful of these and probably not all that many after that. But I don't know, it could be quite popular. We'll have to see. This is the first one. It's kind of odd for them to announce a line like this with only showing one, but Shizuoka is not too far down the road, so I have a feeling that maybe at Shizuoka we might maybe see some prototypes of maybe 2 or 3 more to come out in the line after Fumino, or at least 2 or 3 more options that might be coming out in the line afterwards. I kind of hope so, and I wonder what the other possibilities might be. Anything else? Maybe something from Iron-Blooded Orphans is very possible. You'd think that they might do something like from First Gundam, maybe like a Sailor Mass or something like that as well. But I don't know. I think there could be. These are kind of interesting, but definitely that higher price point, 5,500 yen, is probably going to dissuade a lot of people. With that being basically like you can buy a pretty large master grade for that price. So I'm not sure how well this is really going to be successful in that, when, again, that price is also quite comparable to buying just like a regular like PVC statue. So we'll have to see. Moving right along before we get into any more trouble on that topic, let's see the P-Bandai Gundam Astray Red Frame Kai. Now this is another example of the kit where this is coming out, as far as I know, as a P-Bandai kit in Japan, but outside of Japan it's going to be a standard release kit. So kind of like the Master Grade 00 XN Riser was that kind of like that. So at least in America, it's going to be a standard release. I know that. So that's pretty cool for fans of the Astray Red Frame in America. This is going to be quite cool to see this in PG with the big, huge sword weapon thing, backpack that it has. It should be pretty cool in 1/60 scale. This is coming out in July for 23,000 yen. So it's not going to be cheap, around $200 for that. That's just the list price. And then obviously it's a big, heavy kit. So by the time that actually gets to America, I'm sure the list price that you guys are going to have to be ending up paying for that is going to be quite a bit more, but it does look cool. It's cool that Bandai's making some more versions of that anyway. But the next thing is probably the most exciting bit of news, is that we got this teaser image, which is official, of a Master Grade Jagen. It doesn't say Master Grade Jagen on there, but you can pretty much tell by what we can see there of a prototype. So this is another thing that I'm assuming we'll probably see at Shizuoka in the near future, and we'll probably see a full prototype of this, I'd imagine. I'm not sure, but we're finally getting a Master Grade Jagen, probably, and so that's really, really good news. So of course we don't really know anything other than that, other than just this image, but this image is pretty telling, I would say. And with the Master Grade Jagen, that opens up the floodgates for all the different premium Bandai variations that we're going to be getting. The Jagen Echoes type, the Stark Jagen, all the different kinds of Jagens that you can imagine. I'm sure we'll get plenty of P-Bandai variations of that, and that'll be really cool. So that should be a nice kit. It looks like, from what we can see of the frame, it's going to be a completely new kit. They're not using any frame from anything else, probably, so that should be nice. Next, okay, getting into the 1/144th scale, the HG Build Divers Leo NPD. So it didn't take Bandai long to make a variation of the Leo. Unfortunately, it's not an actual canon variation. I mean, like from Wing. This is a Build Divers version. So this one is NPD is the non-player diver. So I'm guessing this is some sort of like autonomous mobile suit, maybe from the series, I guess. This is coming out in June for 1,200 yen. It's just 200 yen higher than just the standard Leo kit. But we've seen from initial images that you can actually build just the full Leo kit with this. So if you wanted just like a kind of gray scale Leo and you don't paint, you can get that with this kit. What you also get with this kit is 4 different variation heads for that you can choose from, and then I think it was 3 different variations on shoulder armor that you can choose from, aside from just the original shoulder armor. So it would be 4 and 5 heads and 4 shoulder armors. Anyway, 3 new shoulder armors, 4 new heads for this, and that's about it. Unfortunately, no new weapons. It would have been cool if they would have given us some sort of new weapon for this, but the weapons is just the same, just the machine gun, the beam sabers, and the shield. But it's cool. I mean, I'm still hoping that we'll get some actual wing variations of the Leo at some point. I'm sure we will. It's just a matter of time. Next thing, this is interesting, and I'm not sure about this. This is the HG Build Divers Gundam 00 Diver Ace Pack. So basically what this looks like to me is the Gundam 00 Diver plus the Ace Weapons Pack kind of just sold together as one kit, it looks like. There might be some new parts in there, but I can't really quite tell. I think that there maybe you're getting like doubles of some of the weapons that if you buy like just the set, you'd have to buy like 2 of the sets, like that is what I'm trying to say. It looks like that may be the case. Anyway, this is out in June for 2,000 yen. But yeah, don't really quote me on that. I wasn't really sure looking at the post that I saw about this, whether I was reading that correctly or not. But assuming that I am, that's basically what this kit is going to be. So if you're wanting to get a 00 Diver and you want some extra weapons for that without having to buy stuff separately, then maybe this is something that you could go for if you're willing to wait a little bit for that. Next thing is the HGUC Beyerland. So the original Beyerland finally making its way into the HGUC line, and in this case it seems like this is going to be a standard release and not a P-Bandai. Strangely, you would have thought that between a kit which pretty much already exists in full, that would have been a P-Bandai kit, and then a completely new kit, that would have been a standard release kit, but hey, who knows? It's just a toss the dice. That's what Bandai does. Anyway, we don't have a list price out for this yet, but the release date is set for July. Again, we pretty much already have this entire kit almost with the Beyerland is sold. Already had the arms. I think just the only thing really new about this kit, I think, is just the backpack maybe. The backpack is a little bit different. But as I've said on many occasions, the HGUC Beyerland in its many forms is one of my favorite HGs. I really, really like it a lot, so I'm looking forward to building one more. Getting back to Build Divers here, I kind of messed up the order a little bit. This is a new HG Build Divers kit announced, the Gera Gerarga. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that sort of correct. This one's out in June for 1,800 yen. This is obviously a variation of one of those enemy mobile suits from Gundam Age. I'm not sure exactly which one, but it does look really cool. I actually quite like this a lot. I mean, I think it has a really cool look to it, and I don't typically like kind of like all blue mobile suits like this, but it looks quite good in this particular like really bright blue that it's in. That super long tail, which can of course also be used as a whip, and just overall the styling of this does look quite interesting. So I think this will be a pretty cool kit. I'm quite looking forward to that actually among the upcoming HG Build Divers kits. So looking forward to checking that out. So then we have the HG Build Custom Ptolemaios arms coming out in June for 900 yen. This is basically the weapon set that comes with the HG Build Divers Seravi Gundam Scheherazade, but they're just making it available to be bought as a separate weapon set, so you're able to use that with other different Gundams and mobile suits, or you're able to just make it kind of like in its kind of ship form, which is also pretty cool, as just because like some ship or like assist unit or something. So it's quite cool actually. I think that'll be a pretty interesting weapon set actually. 900 yen is on the higher side for the Build Customs weapon set, but I think it looks like you're getting a pretty fair amount of plastic in there, so it's definitely not bad. And the last thing here is the HG Build Custom Spinning Blaster. This is another new weapon set from Build Divers. This one is also coming out in June for 600 yen. This one I'm not really as sold on. It's kind of weird that it's kind of like Swiss Army knife of a weapon that's I guess sort of similar to the Changeling rifle in that way, but it's like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of like one of those like Leatherman knives with like opens up, like folds open, and then you have like the pliers and the like different things like fold out of it. It looks like that, but in like a mobile suit's weapon form, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see about that, but that's coming out in June anyway, so we'll have to see. Alright, let's get into some updates, and I want to do something a little bit different this time for the updates. I usually don't talk about the kits that are coming out this month, because I probably already have talked about them for the past few episodes leading up to the release, and I'm going to be reviewing them shortly, so there's kind of not really a point to talk about them in this news episode. But In this case, there's a lot of stuff coming out this month, so I do just kind of want to touch base on some of these things because we have box art to show for them and some other cool stuff. So we'll just kind of quickly run through first just the stuff that is coming out this month, and that is the Real Grade Tallgeese EW, which I thought was supposed to be coming out in May, but apparently it's coming out this month, actually. So that's coming out for 2,500 yen. I also quite like the fact that they've gotten back down to the kind of original base price for real grades with this. Lately, they've been around 2,700 yen, 3,000 yen, because we've had like kind of more involved mobile suits coming out. But in this case, this will be quite nice. And Tallgeese, I think that the kit does look really nice. The only complaint that I have about the kit still at this point is just that the legs, the proportion of the legs, compared to the Master Grade, I like that the Master Grade has a more bulky thigh and thinner lower leg. In this case, the thigh is not as bulky and the lower leg is just like a tree trunk, very kinkles, and it's not very attractive compared to the Master Grade. So other than that, I think this kit does look good. I will be checking it out because there's a couple of things I want to see just how it compares. I want to see if it's just like a little bit more stable in the ankles, if it's able to stand easier than the Master Grade kit was. You have a pretty top-heavy mobile suit on these tiny little feet. It's not really the most stable kit, so I'm sure the Real Grade will probably be much more stable. But that's one thing I'm interested in checking out. The other thing is how it holds the dauber gun. It's really complicated. It's kind of hard to do with the Master Grade. But if the Real Grade does it better, then points for the Real Grade. So I'm looking forward to checking it out anyway. We'll see that soon enough. And then in the HG The Origin MSD line, the Gundam FSD, again, just a variation of the Gundam Local Type, or the kind of black North America version Gundam Local Type. In this case, we have the really cool like arm-mounted Gatling gun on this thing, cool new big shield which folds up. But the other cool thing that we saw in some recent images, aside from the cool box art for that kit, is that it is also coming with just the regular Gundam Local Type's shield, as well as the backpack cannon from the black type, the North America type. So that'll be cool that you do have some other different weapon options aside from just what it's typically pictured with for this kit. So you can use those with other different kits with the other versions if you want. So that's pretty nice. Also, the HGUC Gundam Ground type is out for... Also, the HGUC Gundam Ground type is coming out for 1,700 yen. Really looking forward to this one as well. Obviously, going to be very similar to the the HGUC GM Ground type. But it really just looks like they've just kind of nailed everything about this HG kit. It comes with the container backpack, which you're able to store the 180mm cannon in, broken down. And it also comes with the beam rifle, the machine gun, the shield, kind of everything that you'd want for this kit. So it looks like it's going to be a really, really nice HG. Just solid. If you're a fan of 8th MS Team, it's going to be kind of one of those must-have kits. So looking forward to that. Also, the HG Build Divers. We have a few HG Build Divers kits coming out this month. The Grimoire Red Beret. Looking forward to that just because I haven't built the regular Grimoire and I've heard it's a pretty nice kit. One of the nicer ones from the Reconquista NG line. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. The gimmicks for that kit do also look quite interesting as well. So that's coming out for 1,800 yen. Also, the Gym 3 Beam Master, also coming out for 1,800 yen. This is another one. I've never built the just regular Gym 3, but I've heard it's a pretty good kit. So I'm looking forward to checking out this version of that. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be sold on that all orange. The orange color looks nice, but it looks like it might just be just a little bit too much of that orange for me, but we'll see. I also think like some of the new parts for this I think look a little bit cheap, but we'll have to see once we actually get the kit in hand. So, and then there is a couple of build custom sets, the HG Build Custom Changeling Rifle. This one I'm actually not planning on getting and reviewing that because I actually just don't really like the look of this at all. It's just a rifle with a very strange kind of... I don't really like weapons that are just held like that with like two side like handles like that. It just kind of doesn't look good. For like something like the Dovin Wolf, it looks okay because it's kind of much more involved into the design of it, but in this case I don't really just like the look of the Changeling Rifle, so I won't be reviewing that. We'll definitely be checking out the Diver Gear though. The Diver Gear is also coming out this month for 700 yen. It's basically just the Action Base 5 with a different base part with really cool things. So basically I'll be using that for all of my HG Build Divers reviews in the future. You guys will see that, I'm sure. Another one coming out this month that I'm planning on passing is the HG Petite Guy Diver Blue and Placard. This is basically just another Petite Guy with the one that comes with the placard. In this case, it's just blue. and 500 yen. So anyway, moving on. The first of the Haropla are coming out this month as well. These ones I'm really looking forward to. And as I mentioned, I think in last month's episode, later on this year, probably starting in the summer, I am planning on having a custom Haropla contest. So if you're going to be interested in entering the custom Haropla contest, definitely pick up a Haropla or two at some point in the near future and just wait for the announcement of that. Yeah, again, probably maybe next month I'll maybe make an announcement about that, and then I'll give you guys maybe over the summer to work on that, and then we'll end that maybe around the end of July or something like that. So that's just kind of a rough time frame I'm kind of considering at the moment. But yeah, custom Haropla contests coming up in the future, so get thinking on your ideas on that. These are coming out. They're just 500 yen each. Really cool, and they look really nicely detailed, and there's different options you can do with the arms out or with the different parts open, expanded. It looks really cool, so I'm looking forward to these. We're getting the Shooting Star Orange, the Diva Red, and the regular green out first this month, and then there's some more coming out later on in the future, so those will be pretty nice. Okay, so that's everything that's coming out just this month. Now we're getting into just the other stuff that's coming out in the future, and we had last month we had a teaser of the next metal build Gundam being the Strike Gundam, but now we have some more official information, and there's like a promo video for the metal build Strike Gundam. We still don't have a release date or a price set for this yet, but the metal build Strike Gundam will be coming out in the future, probably around the end of the year if I had to guess. Next thing here is the Robot Damashi Ka Signature Zeta Plus C1 coming out in July for 15,000 yen. Very expensive, but it does look super, super nice. If I was one to collect Robot Damashi, that would definitely be one that I would want. It looks really, really cool. Also, a Robot Damashi Ka Signature Gundam Mark II Titans version is out next month in May for 8,500 yen. And then a metal Robot Damashi Musha Gundam is out in June for 13,000 yen. More expensive, but again, this is the metal Robot Damashi line, so I think they're a little bit more involved. I think they have some like die-cast parts in there and stuff. So moving on, the Robot Damashi Rick Dom and Ball version anime set is coming out in June for 7,400 yen. And as I mentioned before, I've heard, though I haven't seen anything more about this, but I saw in the original post about this, is that there will be premium Bandai versions of this coming with 2, 3, and 4 extra balls if you wanted that. Then we've got the Robot Damashi Sinanju Real Type Marking version. This is out in June for 7,000 yen. It's just the same Robot Damashi Sinanju, but Real Type Marking version just means it has some different markings on it, basically, I guess. Not really a whole lot different there. There's the Tamashii Webshop exclusive Robot Damashi Sinanju Final Battle Set. This one, we did get some new images for this, which do look really cool. It's basically the kind of top part of the Neo Zeon, kind of like just this part of it up here. It doesn't have the big huge spike things on the shoulders. It doesn't have any of the lower half. It also has like 2 big hands, and that's pretty much it. Sinanju sold separately, also a very important point. So 1,600 yen for 16,000 yen for that. Very expensive, but yeah, it's an exclusive thing and it's quite sizable. But considering how little of the Neo Zeon is actually there, if you really wanted to go with that, you'd probably maybe want something a little bit more substantial. Like if you're gonna make a Neo Zeon, like give us more than just like a third or a fourth of. It's probably like a fourth of the Neo Zeon there, but hey, anyway, I guess it's better than nothing if that's something you really wanted. Then one more thing here from the Robot Damashi line, the Robot Damashi Zaku 2 FZ version anime is out in May next month for 5,500 yen. All right, it's very cool. I don't like these Zaku 2 FZ personally, but hey, summer is right around the corner, so you might want to get out some hamburger and start doing some grilling. Who knows? Anyway, the Formania EX GP01 FB Gundam Zephyranthes full burner bust thing. We're finally getting some more new images and information about that as well. This is going to be out in September for 30,000 yen. Very expensive, as these Formania EX busts usually are. But yeah, man, they're super detailed, and like for just a thing of like a bust, it's super detailed and all pre-painted and all of that, and they look great for sure. And they're very interesting to look at, but man, whew, super expensive. Yikes. All right, then we have the Metal Robot Damashi Infinite Justice Gundam coming out in September for 13,000 yen. As I mentioned, the Metal Robot Damashi do have some die-cast parts in there. Here you can see in one of the images here, showing you exactly where some of those die-cast parts are in the joints and things like that. I'm not sure if that really helps with the stability or really what the purpose of that is, but that is a thing anyway. So yeah, this one as well, we knew was coming out, but now we're getting some more information, images of that. So it looks quite nice. Next thing here is the Next Edge Style Gundam Crossbone Ghost, out in May for 4,000 yen. If you guys didn't see recently, I did my first video checking out a Next Edge Style figure. I did a quick review of the Next Edge Style Banshee. It's quite interesting, and the Ghost does look nice, but I think I much prefer the Phantom, the previously released green version of that kind of. So I am going to try to get a Phantom at some point. The Ghost, though, probably not. The Next Edge Style Gundam Mark V, though, I definitely do want to get this. I have it on pre-order at the moment. I am looking forward to picking that up. I'm looking forward to getting that. Anyway, this one's going to be out in July for 3,500 yen. These aren't really all that cheap, but the Gundam Mark V does look pretty nice. It definitely looks nicer than the Banshee. I gotta say, the Banshee was nice, but the Mark V definitely does look really cool. In the Converge world, we have the Converge Psycho Gundam Mark II out in June for 2,800 yen. Looking forward to that, of course. That'll be nice. And then we have the Gundam Converge Series 11 out in June as well for 500 yen each. That is including the Wing Gundam, the Nataku, the Doben Wolf Double Zeta version, the Gun Tank, the Mercurius, and the V8. The Wing Gundam, I should say, is the Wing Zero Custom, or the Wing Gundam Zero EW, or whatever you want to call it. The Angel Wings Wing Gundam. There's a whole lot of wing love in Converge Series 11, so if you're a fan, then that would definitely be worth checking out. Not really looking forward to the Gun Tank all that much, to be honest, but the Doven Wolf as well, I'm looking forward to that. I really enjoyed the Converge Silver Bullet, and Doven Wolf is obviously quite similar in design. So next thing, we have the P-Bandai Gundam Converge Psycho Gundam Mark II option parts set. So this is just option parts for the Psycho Gundam Mark II. This is coming out in June as well for 2,200 yen. Basically, this is including a Cubile Mark II, riding on, it's kind of, I forget what the exact name of that base jabber is, but that, as well as just some cool beam effect and option parts things for the Psycho Gundam, which is quite interesting. It's quite cool. And then we also have the P-Bandai Converge Core Dendrobium. The Dendrobium is something that's actually already been out in the past, but this new version has different markings and a little bit different colors on it. So maybe if you missed it in the past, and if you're finding it kind of hard to find, this is maybe another opportunity to get it, although now it's P-Bandai, so it will be probably a little bit more expensive. The list price for this is 3,600 yen, and it'll be out next month, so look for that. Then we have the Exceed Zaku Head Volume 4 coming out next month as well for 500 yen each. And yeah, it's just some more cool Exceed Zaku heads coming out. It's not really a whole lot different, much different about those. If you're planning on painting them, as far as the parts, they're pretty much all the same, but they do have some cool custom markings if you're like collecting those or something. Those are a pretty cool looking set. Okay, so moving on to P-Bandai, the Premium Bandai Master Grade GNX3 A-Laws type is out in May for 4,300 yen, just another variation of the Master Grade GNX. And then there's the P-Bandai Master Grade Advanced Hazel out in May as well for 5,500 yen. Definitely looking forward to that. I love the new parts that we're getting for that. That'll be really nice. And again, we had the tease of a Master Grade Hurudu parts set, but still no news on that, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll see something about that. Again, maybe at Shizuoka? So actually, speaking of the Shizuoka Hobby Show, that's scheduled for next month, the 10th through the 13th. So probably what I'll do is, I usually like to have a Gunpla news out right around the first week of the month. But probably, considering we'll see some big news at that event next month, what I'll do is wait for next month's episode of Gunpla News until after Shizuoka's done, so that I can talk about everything that we saw at the show. So next month's episode will be a little bit later, probably around the middle of the month, but we'll see that next month. Anyway, hopefully we'll see some cool stuff out of Shizuoka. We usually do, so I'm looking forward to that, as always. Then we have the P-Bandai HG Armblade Orphans IO Frame Shiden Tewa's Core version for 1,200 yen, coming out in June. This is just kind of light purple IO frame Shiden with just some cool weapons included with that. It's nothing really too new there. Then we have the last one is the P-Bandai HD The Origin MSD Heavy Gundam. I actually almost totally forgot this is coming out until just now. Yeah, this is out next month actually for 2,100 yen. So again, this is basically just the HG, the Origin Gundam local type, kind of with a whole bunch of new parts kind of for it, including of course the big heavy gun arm thing for it. I built the Master Grade, which was also a P-Bandai kit of the Heavy Gundam. It wasn't actually mine though. Alex loaned that to me to review for you guys, so thanks to Alex for that. But yeah, this I think the HG version does look probably better in some ways. But of course, Master Grade is also nice too. Alright, then of course we have the Master Grade Gundam F91 version 2.0. It's coming out very soon, next month, for 4,000 yen. As much as I'm not really that big of a fan of the F91 Gundam in general, it does look like it's going to be a very nice kit, so I'm looking forward to checking that out, seeing what all it has to offer. The images that we were seeing recently of that do look like it's going to be very nicely engineered, if nothing else, so that'll be a fun kit to check out. And then also there's the RE100 Vignagina out in June for 3,200 yen. Haven't really seen much new about this, but I don't really think there's too much more really to see until it comes out. We have just some render images of that, and it looks pretty nice, and that's kind of fine. As always, I'm just looking forward to seeing what the next in the RE line is going to be in the future. Fingers crossed for something cool, something a little bit more exciting than the Vignagina for me. Personally, I'm not really all that into that design, but it'll be interesting. Then, of course, we have the HGAC Leo coming out in May for 1,000 yen. A very highly anticipated kit by me, and I'm sure by others as well. It looks just like a really nice, solid, simple HG kit, and it'll be fun to build that many times over, I'm sure. And there's the HGC Garibaldi Beta out in June for 1,500 yen. This one also does look quite nice. Never been that big of a fan of the Garibaldi in general, but I imagine we might also see maybe some different variations of that in the future as well, as some P-Bandai kits or regular releases. Who knows, but possibly. It was depending on how well this kit sells, but it does look like it's going to be a really nice one as well. Getting into Build Divers, we have the Build Divers Momo Kapul out in May for 1,800 yen. Again, the kind of penguin Kapul with the mini Kapul inside. Anyway, I don't know if I mentioned this last month, but I've seen people wondering, like, oh, now we're getting this. Aren't we going to get like a just regular HGUC Kapul kit? Maybe the Turn A version or the double Zeta version? Anyway, if you take a look at the Momo Kapul, you can see that there's really not anything of that kit that they could reuse to make a Kapul. So just because we're getting this kit, I don't think that means that we're actually getting a new HG kit of the Kapul. That would be nice, but they're similar, yes, but none of the parts could actually be reused. Moving on, the HG Build Divers Cerevi Gundam Scheherazade. This one's out in May as well for 2,200 yen and looks quite nice. It looks pretty cool, actually. I think this was going to be one that is going to be quite interesting. Really love the head design on that. The extending leg gimmick, not sure how well I'm going to like that. Who knows? We'll see. It could be interesting. Then there's the HG Build Divers Ogre GNX. This one's out in May as well for 2,000 yen. The next couple months are going to be very busy with a whole lot of Build Divers HG stuff. Yeah, this one also does look quite nice. I think we saw this a little bit in the first episode. At least I saw screenshots of it anyway. Maybe it was just in like the kind of opening segment or something, possibly. I don't know. But it comes with some really cool B-Maxes. It's a really interesting mashup of the Age 1 Titus and the GNX, so that should be another interesting kit as well, I think. And the HG Build Custom Diver Ace unit, which I kind of briefly mentioned earlier. This one's out in May as well for 700 yen. As far as I can tell, that 00 Diver Ace pack is basically kind of the 00 Diver with this weapons pack, just kind of together as far as I can tell. But anyway, this is just kind of a backpack and swords, weapons, and things to use with your mobile suits. Next, the HG Build Custom Tilt Rotor Pack, also coming out in May for 800 yen. This is a kind of cool backpack, kind of designed for, kind of intentionally for Grimoire Red Ray, but of course you can use it for whatever else. So that also does look like a pretty cool like support set kind of thing. And there's the HG Petite Guy Karagai Momo coming out in May as well for 900 yen. As you can see, I've got my Petite Guy Gyanko here, still work in progress. Kind of almost done with that. Should be done relatively soon anyway. Just need to finish up the last few steps on that, but enjoying working on that, just kind of customizing that a bit. That's been fun. Anyway, so about the Momo figure, it also does look interesting. Then we have the Haropla Pink variant coming out next month in May for 600 yen. Compared to just the regular ones that are coming out this month, this one, the pink variant, has the little rabbit ears on it, or not rabbit, animal ears on it anyway. Okay, the last thing here is the SD Cross Silhouette line, which I talked about a lot last month, and we haven't really seen anything else since then. So anyway, this isn't starting until June, so there is definitely some time before I'm sure we'll see a lot more of this probably as well at Shizuoka and in the next couple months before this is coming out. So just to quickly run through these, there's the SD Cross Silhouette RX-78-2 Gundam coming out for 800 yen, and then there's also the Cross Silhouette frame set of that, which is the same kit plus the frame parts. That one is coming out in June as well for 1,400 yen. Otherwise, you can buy the frame by itself. The SD Cross Silhouette frame in white plus the GM head is going to be available separately for 600 yen. And then there is also the Nightingale out in June as well for 1,400 yen. That one also looks quite interesting. Then there is the Crossbone Gundam X1 out in June as well for 800 yen. And then there is the Zaku 2 out in July also for 800 yen. And then the Zeta Gundam coming out the next month in August for 1,000 yen. And then there's the Freedom Gundam and the Ifrit, which we don't know when those are going to be coming out yet or anything about that, but probably later on after August, in August or after August, after the Zeta Gundam anyway. And so we've got a full lineup, very diverse lineup of mobile suits in that line to start it off. Of course, we've got the classics like the RX-78-2 and the Zaku 2, but then some very odd choices thrown in there. The Nightingale, the Ifrit are kind of out of nowhere, it seems like, but some cool choices for sure. It looks like a very interesting new take on the SD line, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Okay, and so that wraps up all of the updates, and now we can move on into some third-party and resin news. Here we have some news about a 1/100 scale Calamity Gundam conversion kit from Artisans Club. This is designed by GM Dream Studio. So these resin conversion kits, come out every now and then. I don't always talk about them, but this is one that I saw that does look pretty cool that I just wanted to share with you guys. This is a conversion kit for the Master Grade Freedom version 1.0, so you will need that kit as a base. And then this conversion kit looks like it's gonna be costing around $80 for this, but looks quite cool. The Calamity Gundam is a design that the color is a bit silly for me, but the overall design is quite interesting. It's one of the more interesting ones from Seed Destiny. Was it Seed Destiny? I think, right? Yeah, Seed Destiny. One thing that is really cool about this is how the cannon on the backpack, how the cannons like expand out. It looks really cool how the parts expand out like that. So that's really cool. I won't be getting this, but I do think that it does look quite nice. And of course, it's very detailed. It looks like there's very, very little of the Master Grade Freedom kit left of this. Basically, just the inner frame. It looks like there's not really going to be any of the armor parts used. It looks like for the most part. So yeah, this looks quite interesting if you're a fan of the Calamity Gundam and a fan of resin conversion kits. That's something that's coming out in the near future. Actually, I think that did just release. So you should be able to buy that now, I believe. So you can check for that online. This is another thing that is not out yet, but we're just getting the initial images of this. This is a XS Gundam bust, and I'm not sure the scale of what this is going to be either. Usually these are around 1/35 scale, but I think this one is actually going to be a little bit larger, possibly. It looks quite big. From ST Model, apparently, and a company I'm not really too familiar with. Personally, I don't really like the look of this. It's a little bit kind of overdone for me. But this is going to include something like 700 some odd parts, 70 plus metal parts, as well as including LED lights in that. So it's going to be pretty involved. So probably pretty expensive. I would imagine, if I had to take a guess, at least around $150 for this, probably. But it's, yeah, if you're into those kind of really elaborate head busts, that's definitely one that is going to be pretty impressive, I'm sure. And next thing, we have a whole bunch of new images from Mechanicore regarding their new 1/72nd scale Pyrannosaurus, which is a very stupid name, I think, for the GPO2 Gundam. Basically, the GPO2 Sysalis Gundam here is, yeah, it's going to be quite big. I guess it's going to be, basically, they don't really do 1/100 scale. In the past, they've called their mobile suits in 1/100 scale, but they're definitely larger, so I think they just kind of like, okay, well, we need to call it something a little more accurate. So 1/72nd scale. They're very, very big anyway, very complicated. This one looks quite nice. I wasn't quite sold on it at first, but I've definitely come around. I think it's looking better the more that I see of the kit. They've definitely gone for a much more angular, obviously a much more mechanical design. Not really realistic mechanics, I mean, but it's very Mechanicore styled. Anyway, if you've seen any of their past kits, it's still in the same fashion. And so I think some of the improvements that they've made to the design do look pretty nice. You have a couple different options for the head, which is kind of interesting. And then kind of the main gimmick of this new release too is that it has like a full not full, but it has a bunch of open hatch gimmicks to it. So I think that's something that's really cool. It was a really good idea for them to do, because with their kits in the past, they have a whole lot of really nice detail underneath the main armor parts, and you just can't really show it off unless you were to do something like this on your own, or like display it with some of the armor off. But this gives you a good chance to really show off all of that really cool detail inside the kit as well. So doing this kit with a lot of open hatch gimmicks was a very, very good idea, I think. So it looks really cool. The stand they're using for this is kind of basic, but I really like that they've included an extra arm for the shield, because obviously that huge, giant, heavy shield is a big problem for this design in what's the master grade, the high grade, any version of this kit. If you've ever built this kit at all, you know it's just very difficult to do anything with that shield. It's just too heavy. So having a separate arm which is meant to hold that shield very securely on there will be very convenient. I think it makes it look like it's one of the few times, very rarely, that we ever see like a Mechanicore kit pictured like in some sort of like dynamic pose. And of course these are all just CG renders, but I imagine you should be able to pull this off with the actual kit. It's not too extreme. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting. It's looking pretty cool. This one is out. So when is it out? I think it's scheduled to be out in August, I believe, but I wouldn't really count on that. It's probably going to be delayed September or October more realistically. We do have some stats on this. It says the head height is around 26 centimeters, 26.5 centimeters. The Hyper Shield itself is the exact same height. The Atomic Bazooka is actually longer, coming in at around 32.5 centimeters, very large. The overall parts looks like around 1,900 parts, so almost 2,000 parts for this. Of plastic parts, that's 1,600, and then other things is like LEDs, going to be 29 LEDs. A whole bunch of screws and nuts, 65 of those, a USB cable, photo etch parts, other things here. So yeah, just a whole lot of stuff included with that. It's all pretty typical Mechanicore. If you've ever seen anything about any of the previous kits, they're all kind of similar in that sense. But they always, just seems to be the case, they always try something different, like as a gimmick of each new release, whether it was going way back to the Ellen kit. They tried having the parts all cut out and like separated in trays instead of being on runners. That was a terrible idea. In another release, they tried putting the instruction manual on a DVD rather than a printed manual. That was a terrible idea. So they kind of go through these ideas of different gimmicks for each release. But in this case, the open hatch gimmick for this, I think, is definitely a winning idea. So good on them for that. All right, and then just to wrap up this month's episode, we'll take a look at a few featured kits here. We have some very cool ones here as usual, and as usual, if you guys do want to check out the builders pages or links to seeing more of these photos, you can check the links to those down below. I'll have those in the description. The first one here is a Master Grade Sinanju Georg. I'm not sure how, Georg maybe? I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to pronounce that, but anyway, this is a custom build by MASSA. And so this is, as you can see, a kind of kit bash of a lot of different stuff here. There's some parts from what looks like the base kit is basically a Master Grade Gelgoog 2.0, or at least there's some of that in there. And then there's parts from like the SD Neo Zeong, it looks like, and parts from the Kshatriya in there. And you can see obviously the Gelgoog's shield there, some Gelgoog legs parts. So it's kind of a mix and mashup of a lot of different things. I think it comes together quite well. Sometimes when you're mixing a lot of stuff, it kind of gets a little bit kind of lost there, but I think this does end up looking still pretty cohesive. It does kind of look more like some kind of extreme custom of a Gelgoog more than anything, but naming aside, I think it does look like a pretty cool kit. He's also got the rifle from the Sazabi. Yeah, there we go, if I can speak. So it's quite interesting indeed, and it has like little sub arms in the front skirts as well. Those look like those are maybe front skirt parts from what? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a whole lot of mixing and mashing in there. Obviously a whole lot of detailing. One thing too that I like about this is just the painting. It's all in just this kind of very muted gray color, but there's just the dark parts of the inner frame and then just the light parts of like some places where he did some like line scribing. You can see on the shoulders and the front skirts. Hopefully you guys can see it in the pictures. Where he's like scribed the line and then also like painted a stripe like right over that panel line. It's really cool. It's something I've never really seen done before, and I quite like it. I'll definitely maybe have to try that in the future. It does also have a couple stripes of blue on there as well, but it's like a very like light kind of pale blue. It doesn't like, it's not like really popping out, but it does give you just a little bit of color in there. And then we have some cool decals on there as well. The, of course, Neo Zeon logo there on the big shield. And also I like the little kangaroo decal up on the shoulder as well. It looks quite cool. The fuel tanks on the back look a little bit odd to me, just with them being kind of straight. It just kind of seems like they're just a bit too long. And so the mobile suit, I'm sure like flying in space would be fine, but standing like this, it looks a bit odd as it is. I think maybe if those fuel tanks, and maybe they are, but I don't know, if they were able to bend so that they were like not just like the top part and the bottom part could like bend instead of just being in a straight line, would make it look better for when it's just standing. But anyway, that's a very small thing. You can see one thing, you can't really see it on the front so much, but on the back, when you look at the mobile suit from the back, you can kind of see the gray is actually sort of like a camouflage kind of pattern as well, between like a lighter and darker gray. So that's pretty cool as well. It's a kind of really very subtle camouflage effect, which again is very unique, and you can see more of the kind of like white line painting over the top of the panel line there on the back skirt a little bit. It's kind of hard to see in the pictures, but very, very interesting design. I really like just this mash up of parts. It ends up looking actually quite nice. So I definitely recommend taking a look at these photos where you can actually see them more up close, and you can identify like where these parts are coming from and how everything kind of fits together. It looks really cool. I like this a lot. It definitely makes me want to go back and do some more gray stuff. So yeah, always the power of gray. Next one here, we've got another big Xeon mobile suit. We have the Master Grade Sazabi Ver.Ka ModelGraphix version, painted build by Shemomi. Anyway, this is nothing really too crazy when you look at it at first. But the most striking feature about this is what I really like about this design, about this build, is the white stripe down like the side of it. It sort of reminds me of, I forget the pilot's name now suddenly, that Testament Gundam. The Testament Gundam, there's an Ace Pilot version of the Testament Gundam that has the white stripe down the, Kate Madigan, I think is the name of it, right? Kite Madigan, something anyway. It's really cool, this like paint design feature of this that I think is really unique, where we've seen the Master Grade Sazabi Ver.Ka in every single color of the rainbow. There's just custom builds of that. It doesn't really matter what color you go with for this kit. It's really hard to be original with this kit, and this is something that I think struck me when I saw this. I thought that's really cool. And so when you can take a kit that's been done to death and still make something original out of it, that's pretty creative. I like that as well. And just with the red, even the red is not a solid red. There's like a kind of block square camouflage pattern there of like a lighter pink color among the red as well, which it looks quite cool. Otherwise, just fantastic, clean build here. I quite like that. You know, weathering is nice, but when you see like just something really clean and really colorful like this, it looks really, really nice. So I quite like this build a lot, just for the creativity of this. The colors, the decals, everything just on point. Very nice build. Like that a lot. And then the last one we'll talk about here is just the HG Armored Load Orphans Reginlaze High Mobility Type Custom Build by tomo-row. Tomo-row. Anyway, yeah, this is a really, really cool custom as well of the Reginlaze. You see, there's not, like, at first, this is another thing where, like, at first you're looking at this, you can't really notice, like, how, like, what parts are really customized on there. But I think you have to be just kind of more familiar, I guess, with just the base kit. Or looking at this side by side with the base kit, you can see what all has changed about this. Like seeing the kit from the back is probably the easiest way to notice what's different about it, because the back skirts are totally different. He's built these kind of different parts for the back skirt on that. Really cool how he's added the antenna, commander antenna onto the front of the head. That looks really nicely shaped on that, as well as a small little antenna on the side of the head as well. Looks really cool. This one as well, I just really love the colors on this. The painting on this is really nice. The colors are really, really good. Just that green and then like the lighter green on top of that nice dark gray inner frame. And then he's switched out some parts. He added some little mesh hosing, or they might be soft rubber actually, not mesh. Looks like a little rubber hose in there on the underside of the kind of torso. that looks really nice as well. So, and then the decals on this, he is really utilizing those awesome high-Q decals, and they're looking fantastic as always. And just the little bits of details that he's added to this all look really nice. I'm definitely going to be referring back to this for future builds of mine. This is very much in the kind of style that I like, in terms of just like small little modifications to builds and just going for just some nice colors and things like that. So I really like this build a lot. Again, not like the most like crazy thing. I wouldn't see this kind of build like winning GBWC or anything like that, but it's just a really nice build. And like you even can see like on some of these pictures, like some of the little details and things that he's added, like even to the underside of parts. It all looks very, very nice. So I really like this a lot. The Reginlaze is one of my favorite designs from the HG Armed Orphans line, so I'll definitely have to think about pulling mine out and maybe working on that in the near future. So that's going to be it for this month's episode of Gunpla News. What did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Always love hearing from you guys. I know a lot of you guys just listen to this, so that's good. I think this is just too long to probably just sit down and watch. If you do, that's cool, but you know, hopefully this information is useful for you guys. And that's pretty much going to be it for this video. One thing I will give you guys an update. If any of you were wondering what the update or what's going on with trying to get my mega size custom PewDiePie custom Zaku to PewDiePie, I was able to get in touch with him on Twitter, and so we're now messaging on Twitter, and I'll get that sent to PewDiePie soon. So hopefully sometime in the next, it'll probably take a little while to get there, and he's in Japan currently at the moment, so he has to hold off on sending it until they're back. But I think it'll probably be a couple weeks before you might see that actually in a video, but hopefully you guys will in the pretty near future. And yeah, he's really happy with that, so that's cool. I'm glad. He actually offered to pay for the shipping, which is cool. That's nice. So yeah, that's good. It all worked out for now, it seems. So we'll have to see how that goes in the future. Anyway, yeah, I'll let you guys know. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. See you next time.